You know what I've realized is that the second arc is always a banger because you're still finding your feet in the first arc and trying to understand who your character is, and then the rest of the campaign is about dealing with the consequences of what you did in the second arc.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
That is a good way to put it, because like the second arc is like where things like start, like the ball starts rolling down the hill and collecting like debris and snow and like becoming a thing.
And then it obliterates a small German town.
You've got to know who your characters are before you can start fucking them up real good.
Oh, 9.
All right, so the second downtime, the full team inside the gig. This hotel, we're going to have a little group scene before we break out into our level ups here. So I want you all to paint me the picture of what your characters do one time where everyone happens to be at the bar in the gig at the same time. So this is the lowest dry floor, or like the highest wet one, as it were, the shared wet and dry space. So I'll start with Hialeah is at a back table with Miss Killings, the tiefling, and they are talking in hushed tones no one else can hear. Hialeah has just a huge mug of water, comically oversized. I bet it's probably a bucket that's meant for like mopping, but she's holding it like a mug and just taking big swigs of water while whispering to Mrs. Killings about something. What are the rest of you doing here at the bar? This morning you all happen to be in the same room.
Reaper is in the corner. There is a light, and she reaches up and crushes it in her hands so she can sit in darkness. And then she quietly bites her lip because there are shards of glass in it now.
Oh.
But she will not let anyone know that it hurts.
I bet they look cool.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm hurt over that. That is just...
Barbella is sat at the bar, having maybe one or two drinks more than maybe would otherwise be being had, flipping through her book of riddles, looking for anything that suggests whether or not getting a bit hammered in the morning is acceptable within the religious faith. Is there anything in the riddle book that says I can't have a drink? It's like 10:30 in the morning. I can probably have 1, 2, 3.
That's a great question. You chopping it up with the Warforged who works there, Parks?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
I've not been around for any of that Warforged being bullshit.
Stranger is also at the bar, and he is throwing the bar peanuts in the air and watching his crow snatch them up.
Oh, well, that's fun.
Aw, that's good. I'd say that Boyce is at a table, not at the bar, seated by himself. Probably has, I don't know, like a simple, like smoked old fashioned or something like that to drink. Has, green prints laid out, studying them while Gaudi is like sort of circling around the table, and the manifested mind is also like orbiting around Boyce's head, just sort of looking too deeply involved and probably shouldn't be drinking too much around these plants, but it's like you gotta partake when you're in the bar,
Barbella is gonna very quickly turn to the bartender and be very confused by a riddle and just sort of go, I keep reading this one. I really can't tell what they were going for. When I was young, I was beautiful in the daylight. When you attain middle age, I turn you gay. When I'm when I'm elderly, I'm more critical than ever. What exactly am I?
Anime?
Apparently it's wine. I don't know how much sense or not this makes, but in middle age I turn you gay. I mean, maybe a little bit.
The wine that turns you gay.
The wine that turns you gay.
Going to Panera and ordering the lemonade that turns you gay instantly.
I think
the zesty lemonade.
I think Lillian is at one of the like tables or booths or something. Like on one side there's Needles, and on the other side there's Dumas, and like Lillian got them, like the three of them together to kind of like go over like acting and confidence training for dummies because they want Dumas to get more comfortable with like being in groups and talking to people before going on stage, and maybe they are having a light drink of wine that makes you gay.
I can't recommend
Yeah.
the wine that turns you gay highly enough.
That's actually the only wine we serve here.
Oh yeah.
Imported straight from the gay domain.
The riddle book will never steer me wrong.
An excellent vintage.
Now I'm just thinking about we're canonically establishing a gay biome in Arabella region. Fantastic.
Be careful about the vintage bottles of it, though, because apparently when I'm elderly, I'm more critical than ever, so be careful about that.
All right. How am I supposed to follow that up? That's like, okay, we actually got to call this episode short tonight because I think we've peaked. At some point in the evening where everyone's hanging out here, Bishop Bittercreek is going to come up from the moon pool below, looking somewhat harried, and make an announcement to everyone here. He says, I won't, take up too much of your time, but the school has reached an agreement on some matters going forward. The first is thanks to Sister Barbella. It is now law that in Zolfo and on Banyan Island that any body parts which enter our territory become legal property of the church and must be defended at all costs.
I don't think that's exactly how I put it.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to say or do anything? He looks at you all because that's kind of what's happened here. Is you made a big choice, and that's kind of the policy going forward. So, if anybody feel free to react.
To clarify, my understanding of the policy was if someone brings a body part and submits it to the system, it gets its due in the system and its assessment before anything else.
Yeah, no one can withdraw it, so it essentially becomes the property of the place.
So
yeah.
the way he worded it, my initial, it sounded like, oh, if a thing falls in the ocean too close to us, it's ours now. And I'm just clarifying that that's not what's being declared. If it's in our domain, it's the church's.
It's like the idea of someone just like throwing a body into the town to create a sort of like a dispute like this.
Yeah, no,
in bad faith.
As long as the thing is, if someone submits a body part for consideration, it gets its moment of consideration.
Yeah. So that's his main first announcement. The next one is there's going to be a cultural exchange festival with other nearby settlements in light of the diplomatic situation we now have with the Coral Kingdom. So because of the death of Seneschal Kilpatrick, we are going to need some allies, and we need to make some friends. We are going to need some friends in the future. So I've taken the liberty of signing you all up to contribute to the festival. Let me look at the roster here. Yes. Dry people. I'm going to need Stranger, your catering. Lillian, entertainment. Hialeah, speech writing. Let's see, Wet Team. Boyce, we need some sort of construction for some sort of event center. Barbella, we need religious outreach, and Reaper security. So I appreciate that, and I'm sure you're all going to do great.
Reaper raises her hand. Do I get to kill people?
If you're going to kill someone, Reaper, make sure you do it in defense of a foreign diplomat to impress them and make them want to be our friends.
No promises.
Can I get some bottles of the wine that turns you gay? I think it will really help sell this riddle that I saw in the book as being a good riddle.
Oh shit, they have the wine they have the fucking drink that makes you gay? Hold on, turn up.
Any dietary restrictions I must adhere to? Also, I don't eat food. What do you people eat?
Oh no. Well, we'll have to discuss this further, stranger, but I assume that there's going to be a wide variety of different palates, so go broad.
I had a friend get baked into a pie once. I think I could do that.
I can't speak for anyone else, but the cheese that turns you trans is fantastic.
Wow, this bar rocks.
I think Lillian will like turn to Dumas and be like, "Oh, that sounds exciting. Do you think that a cultural festival would be a good place for you to spread your wings a little bit? Like maybe get your hands on your first like real actual performance?"
Yeah, so I just want to clarify ahead of time that Dumas is rocking like a wolf cut right now. and is looking a bit more masked. Is like, I think, don't give me a part with a lot of lines, but like physical comedy, like I can fall down and stuff. Like, do you have like a lot of little silly jokes and stuff that people could do?
We got plenty of scripts with like a lot of good physical comedy. I think that will be very enriching for folks coming in, because you got to keep something light. We can't like be busting out dramas for a festival.
Do pratfalls work underwater? Will they get it? They don't have gravity, so like it doesn't work the same way.
Would this festival be all underwater or above water? We could set up the stage somewhere where the pratfalls could work properly, maybe.
Yeah, Bishop Bittercreek says this is a cultural exchange event of underwater kingdoms, so the majority of the festivities will be underwater, but there will be events inside the gig for everyone to enjoy. Austin says, presaging the next wet arc, specifically. So, no, Lillian, you're not going to have to get too deep in the paint here. This is just like, what are you doing during next wet arc? Entertaining diplomats in the gig.
All right, excellent. Then we could just use the stage I've been using already.
You know what? Stranger will ask for specifics. Who exactly is coming to this? I'm not familiar with the area.
Oh, yes. So, the Coral Kingdom is to the west of us, and then there's some people to the north and south. There's no one to the east. That's the edge of the world. So there's going to be at least two big parties of people, one from a more sunny Leshy settlement and one from more dark, deep cephalid settlement. So, yep, those are the two. I can give you a dossier if you would like.
On that note of a dossier, what is the ETA of the arrival of our guests? Just to give me an idea of the timetable that me and El Fagio will have to get, all construction settled, secured, checked, written off, then checked again, and then triple checked just for good measure.
Yep, El Fago's having all that paperwork sorted out, boys. We'll have that over to you as soon as possible, so don't worry about that. We have that for you on the way.
Can I start beating up people now?
First, Bishop Bittercreek looks a little annoyed at the interjection, but then looks at you, and probably you have still a kind of burn scar from where Seneschal Kilpatrick whipped you with his blue bottle, venomous hair, and he softens because you did that for him, and he says, Reaper, I would love to see some demonstrations of your martial prowess. I'm sure we could figure this out. Do you want me to set up some constructs or some dummies, or...
Send me their strongest 20 warriors and I'll defeat them all at once. Or dummies, I guess, would be fine too, if they aren't available.
They're 20 brightest light bulbs.
Actually, I think this is like a comedy bit I'm turning into a narrative point. Are we holding a martial arts tournament? It seemed like, Reaper, you were pretty excited about the idea of doing some kind of solution to our issue via fisticuffs. If Boyce wants to turn the recreation center, if you want to build a stadium for the visiting diplomats, and we can do a dark tournament arc, that's certainly on the table.
Well, I think that might be unfair to the other competitors. Reaper's killed billions, haven't you?
What? Who told you? Yes, I have. I've killed that many. No, hundreds of billions.
Trillions, even.
She's a walking ecological disaster.
Listen, we can all agree that the number of people that Reaper's killed is an undefined, unbound upper sum that diverges, but I'm pretty sure we can incorporate some degree of tournament arc compatible features and adornment around the facilities. I might have to consult with you about that, Reaper, just to make sure that they are deadly enough. Should it be deadly, or they should just be challenging? I'm not quite sure how this stuff works, but I'm always up for an architectural challenge, as it is.
I think it should be an arena, and when you fall out of the arena, you fall into a bottomless pit of spikes.
Well, Reaper, because of the way water works, I don't think it's going to be. You know what? That's fine. We'll put it in the spike pit. It's fine.
The problem with a bottomless pit is honestly the logistics of maintaining the walls, because at some point they have a tendency to sort of fall in without reinforcement. So a pit, sure. Bottomless? I don't know if we can pull that off. I don't think causality will allow that to work properly. Yeah.
Just lie to me and tell me it's bottomless. I'm not going to check.
If you sign off on it, I'll say whatever you want in that case then.
Hot dog. I mean, cool.
All right, as the evening wears on, the last thing that happens before people start filing out is you hear the jingle jangle of some cowfolk spurs as someone comes up from the moon pool to get a drink. And you see Lucius, the blue dragon nudibranch person, and he has his posse of cowfolk, and they mosey up to the bar, and seeing Wet Team, specifically Boyce and Barbella, they tip their hats to you, and Boyce slides over Banana Boy badges to the two of you.
Lucius slides the banana.
What'd I
over.
say?
You said Boyce slides him over. Just like
Voice's secret.
Yeah. Lucius slides over the Banana Boy badges to you two.
Look, I know this whole thing's going on, but and Barbella slides the badge back. Is that necessary?
You'll find them mighty helpful getting done what needs to get done. They open some doors down here.
Can I at least pin it on the inside of my jacket and, like, just flash it as necessary but not otherwise be visibly affiliated?
Whatever tickles your gills, ma'am.
Okay, well, have you decided what's being done? What do you need?
Our business boss has many irons in the fire. We'll get back to you. Enjoy the cultural festival. I know I will.
Cool. I love waiting with a sense of ambiguity and not knowing what's going to be required of me. That's my favorite. I love not having answers about the future. That's why I turned to religion. Definitely did that because I was comfortable with not knowing stuff about what was going to happen in the future.
I'll drink to that. He clinks your glass and drinks without waiting for you.
Barbella opens the riddle book and starts looking for any kind of riddle that might give a sense of what's coming, because this is... I need to know what the future is. That's what religion's good for, knowing what's coming.
I want to point out something. I'm curious about how large Lucius is, because if I'm not mistaken, these blue dragon nudibranches are very small, right? They're tiny, aren't they?
Yeah. In real life, a nudibranch is like this. You sit on the edge of your pinky finger or something. But he is essentially person sized. I should also say that what he's drinking is not the wine that makes you gay. It appears to be just a straight up thing of man-o-war venom.
Okay. When you said it wasn't the wine that makes you gay, I was like, oh god, don't tell me it's the beer that makes you straight.
That's how you know he's a villain. He's drinking the straight beer. What's that water? That's you ever seen this like cool man water? It's the water that's for not being gay.
Liquid death.
Yeah,
Liquid death.
Yes.
Liquid death. I've seen that in the store.
The one that Jade isn't that Jaden Smith's thing?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think it's Will Smith's kid makes the water that's like, yeah, man, water.
But no, in real life, blue dragons literally do eat man-o-war or the blue bottles, and that's why they are venomous. Their bodies concentrate the venom of their much larger, more dangerous prey. So it's just an interesting thing about their biology. So he's just drinking fucking deadly poison at the bar and big dogging you, Barbella.
I really wish I'd known that I could summon a big eel, like, like an hour earlier than I worked it out. Would have saved me so many troubles.
Yeah, I think I said this off the air after the end of the last episode, but the riddle snake protects Zolfo so from outside threats. So that now, like, that's an announcement you've kind of made to the whole world. It's like, if you fuck with us, the riddle snake will destroy you. But you can't just summon it anytime someone's like rude to you at the grocery store. It's not how it works.
I know. But hopefully that will mean that, like, that'll buy us some time while we make allegiances.
I guess this is an important question. How much does I guess Dry Team now know about what occurred on what team side? Like, so it sounds like we know about the Big Daddy Snake coming to help save the day. Do they know about Allison?
Yeah, I think probably, unless there's some reason you don't want to. No.
No, I definitely need to know. So that is an important detail to have. Okay, so I guess I'll first start with my level up. I am a level 7 druid now, and that means I get a new little spell. And that is a 4th level spell, and I have taken, to continue the theme of transforming, Polymorph. And I think the flavor on this, to differentiate, since it's mechanically different than what Stranger already currently has, and lets him turn into something much more dangerous than what he currently has access to, is that he is, after learning that there is a giant issue in every sense of the word, more willing to use something that he has not perfectly taken control of yet, since he does not retain his mental capacity when he changes into these forms. As well, I have taken the Mage Slayer feat, because we saw in the last arc a group of clerics raffle stomping poor Pofo with radiant magic, and that's going to leave an impression on someone, and he does not like it. And also, he does not like Miss Killings, a magic user, so this seemed like a pertinent thing for him to focus on dealing with at this point. And finally, I have obtained a magic item from the last arc, the Cloak of the Bodak. Let me find what it specifically does. Bodak Cloak, Death Gaze. Once per long rest, as a bonus action, you become wrapped in the Bodak's burlap and cast a horrifying visage. Target makes a con save against your spell DC. If they fail the DC by 5 or more, they immediately drop to 0 hit points, else they take 3d10 psychic damage on a failed save, and it is a +1 to spell save as well.
Good God.
I'm throwing out that good shit.
Yeah, I'm going to look at someone and go, explode, idiot. And they very well might. Yes, so as for Stranger's downtime, I think what he is currently doing is that the situation is rapidly evolving and getting more stressful and dangerous at the gig. And what he is engaging in is a favorite calming pastime he has, and that is farming. He's likely confiscated a fair amount of building material to set up fences and selected a plot of land somewhere outside of the gig, a little bit off the beaten path, not to like interrupt anything people are currently doing or setting things up around, and has started planting seeds.
Very cool. I guess I should have myself introduce myself into the scene then at this point here.
Yeah, very well. I could have just stolen some things that you needed to use for some construction project.
Or just like observing the purloinment of building supplies and voices thinking, this looks like something I need to supervise to make sure everything's on the up and up there. So like in the middle of like Stranger setting things up and everything else, Boyce will come kind of strolling out into the clearing to see what's going on. And at this point, we'll just describe the level up. Boyce is now a level 7 wizard. Nothing too wild, just another level of spell, so 4th level spells access. I picked up 2 spells as a wizard, so I got the spells Fabricate as an appropriate one for, like, you know, shenanigans for construction, and Fireball, which I'm never going to cast as Fireball because of how my class features work. It's probably going to be like Acid Ball or Thunderball, or, as I found out, you can turn it, if you have a spell that does piercing or bludgeoning damage, you can just have the Fireball just do bludgeoning damage instead. It's very fun.
Yeah, you get yelled at for doing fire spells up here.
Yeah, well, and you know, fire spells in underwater probably don't work that well either. So it's just a good thing you just change it to acid damage instead.
Just bludgeoning damage, fireball. Call that a wrecking ball.
Yeah, pretty much. You got it. For a feat, I had boys pick up something kind of inspired by the arcane grimoire, which we were kind of flavoring as like a farmer's almanac type thing. And I picked up Artificer Initiate to give boys proficiency with carpenter's tools, mostly for that, the mending cantrip, and an extra spell, Tasha's Caustic Brew, which is just another fun acid damage spell for the repertoire as it is. So basically, as a stranger is doing things, they will probably hear the footfalls of someone approaching and look up to see the like living blueprint that is Gaudi just sort of like slithering around the perimeter a bit, and the water genasi boy sort of, just tipping the cap a little bit, be like, howdy there, stranger. Not sure if I caught your name yet, but I noticed you taking some supplies out here, so just wanted to make sure everything was coming together smoothly.
Oh, well, you actually, in fact, have already said my name, so don't worry there, you have caught it. Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't realize these were allotted to you. There's not really any sort of checkout system around here, it seems. It's very haphazard, I suppose.
No worries about that. I'm not really worried about portioning out and such. It's just more of a matter of, like, if something's being made, I like to be around to help out with it. At the very least, it's keeping my mind off of the troubles we're dealing with underwater after the fallout of what just happened, so...
Yes, it sounded rather stressful. A giant eel, was it? Ate a person? A child, even. Is that not correct?
Yeah, that's one way to look at. The riddle snake appears, in an effort to defend Zalphos, to defend the town, killed a person who was threatening the well-being of the community. They were a child, but they also were part of a group that murdered their sibling, the monarch of their kingdom, for whatever sort of political means. But they got us involved in their affairs effectively by trying to circumvent the whole vibe check queue. I believe that's actually part of your line of work with Lillian, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct. It's it's the main thing I do here, I suppose. I don't really have as much of a secondary role as the rest of the team, although it appears I'm now the chef. I don't really know what you people eat. Well, I know in theory. I don't know what tastes good.
Listen, worst case scenario, you just get a spellcaster to do a little prestidigitation before the dish goes out. No one's going to notice that much of a difference. There's ways around that. But if you don't mind, I'm happy to help out with your fence building here, at the very least.
So I think it's been rather haphazardly constructed. It's not like it's not well made. I don't think he cared so much about it being well constructed as it just delineating areas, like delineating a specific area of this is where the bounds are. It's probably off kilter. Boards are nailed with differing number of nails. They're not centered at all. An architect would not be happy with the job that has been done. Stranger sort of gestures to it and goes, "Be my guest. I'm no carpenter. I'm simply trying to get the job done."
at the end of the day, that's what matters, you know. But I mean, listen, I could pretty it up a little bit while we continue to talk a bit here. And I'd like to imagine either Gaudi or the manifested mind almost projects like an augmented reality, like measuring sort of implement there and like displaying angles and stuff like that, while Boyce is going around and trying to, correct and tidy up the work that was done here. As it continues to talk.
I think Stranger's Crow, it just reflexively crows angrily at Gotti. I think he doesn't know what Gotti is and doesn't like it.
It's easy to not know what Gaudi is, so.
The stranger will continue the conversation and say, "Tell me, boys, how are you finding your... What exactly is your role down there? I thought you were some sort of wet-ass posse. Is that it?"
I think we have several names we could operate on. I think Whole Patrol is getting some inroads and such, but ultimately, I've been living around here for quite a while, trying to build Zalfos, based off of plans that I had made with one of my closest friends who passed away a while back, and in the meantime, I'm helping out Barbella and Reaper when it comes to like things that the school needs done. And what happened most recently was we were just ferrying body parts to be resurrected by the riddle snake.
You said you came out here with a friend who passed away. Are you in queue? Will I be vibe checking your friend sometime soon?
No, no worries about that. When my friend Ollie was pretty sick and for a while, and we came here kind of in anticipation of it. But when it came close to their time, Ollie, said to me, "Don't bring it back, boys." And it wasn't like, they were upset or anything, but they just felt like they were okay with passing on. But, so I'm honoring their wishes, but I still want to see their plans through, because I really, they have such beautiful ideas for buildings and way communities come together. So I'm just trying to, it's almost like if someone gives you a really interesting idea, but they don't know how the underpinnings of it work, and then you can kind of go in there and add the structure, the stability to make it into something. That's what I'm trying to do, but we just don't have a lot of materials. We don't have a lot of resources to get it done.
Yes, you live underwater. There's no trees, I imagine, for you to harvest wood from. What are you building out of under there? A lot of sandcastles? Does that work underwater?
With enough pressure, you can turn it into glass, which makes one type of material. However, that has its own limitations, and you can only dig up so much sand before we make all these pits everywhere. Sometimes repurposing coral, sometimes shipwreckage, sometimes whale falls or kale falls if one of the floating plants, falls into the waters or such. It's kind of, we have to make do with what we have, and that's really the trouble of it.
Well, let's say you complete your goal, you build up the town, you've done what your friend Ollie requested. Will you move on? Find a new goal?
That's a good question, Like, part of me would think, moving on to another project would be desirable, but at the same time, you spend enough time building the town, you end up being built into the community itself. So it's to use a phrase, I guess I'll cross that bridge when I build it,
You said that you're respecting your friend's wish. You said that you're respecting your friend's wishes to not come back. From what I hear, from what Bitter Creek said, now, no matter what, if a body part is given over to them, it becomes property of the church, something to be vibe checked. Do you believe that... Do these two things not potentially run countermanding each other?
mean, to a respect, I guess my only thought is just for a lot of folks when they pass and they are suitable candidates for this whole process, I think a lot of them don't necessarily anticipate what happens, right? It usually is a matter of like suddenly someone dies and then either the people around them or otherwise either assume or propose or otherwise that they should come back for whatever reason they come up with. And you know, my mentality is kind of a almost like a utilitarian pragmatist sort of angle, mostly for the perspective of I don't know how long the rattlesnake will be a thing. It can't be forever. And there is a limited amount of time or resources we have available. So I wouldn't want the system to be filled with candidates that are ill-suited for the process, but it's hard to say what it means. I could say at the very least, depending on whether people plan on staying or leaving, it adds an additional strain to trying to make Zalfos like as a community complete, because the demand is unbounded. I don't know when it will stop. So just trying to plans. I apologize for being imprecise or rather just vague with my language here, but it's my feelings are complicated about it as someone who is.
If I may ask, as you said, you're a utilitarian. Let's say your friend could do something no one else could do, something valuable that would help an untold number of people. As you said, they were quite smart. They had vision. Would you bring them back against their wishes if you thought that they could do something to help the world on such a grand scale it's almost unimaginable?
That certainly is a choice that one has to reckon with when it comes to these topics. All I can say is that I would never be comfortable bringing back Ali against their wishes. I know that if I did so, it probably upset them greatly because we've spent a lot of time building trust with each other as we built the town together. It's rare, I think, for someone to have the autonomy and sense of self to be able to declare that they don't want to come back like that. And I think that's in some ways, a precious choice. Yes, it might be true that Ali could do great things with their ideas, but I'm of the mentality that as long as I'm doing what I can to retain, well, not their personhood, but their ideas and perpetuate them as well as I can, then they don't truly die in that sense, right? I mean, you might be familiar with the idea of like the two deaths, right? You die, your body dies first, and then you die the second time when your name is no longer uttered, right? And I suppose I'm fighting against the second death of Ali rather than worrying about correcting, in quotes, correcting the first death.
I see. Everyone here seems to think that the banyan tree and the rattlesnake are gifts to the people here. I'm an outsider. My people are very different than you, as you can plainly see. I think I might view it a bit differently. It seems to me it is in a way almost a test or a punishment. We agonize over who to bring back, why to bring them back, who has the right. And you never know if it's you never know if you've made the right choice until it's potentially too late.
I mean, the same could be said for many endeavors and ventures that you can't take back, It's that's kind of the risk of living, right? Sometimes you make a choice, and after it's made, whatever the outcomes are, you can't take it back. And I could see your thoughts about it being a test, not of the person being brought back, but of, well, everyone kind of involved collectively, right?
Yes, it is in a way the ultimate test of morality. You choose who deserves to come back, however you define that meaning, who you think may, and he kind of flicks his hand dismissively, provides enough value to the world, or who is too dangerous or strange to come back.
And like you said, it almost comes down to almost the effectively arbitrary whims of whoever is making those decisions and valuation judgments, is what I'm guessing you're suggesting here.
Yes, it seems to me that at every point in this current system, there are exceptions, people who have circumvented or at least attempted to get around the rules. Well, people who have attempted to get around the rules, successfully or not. And however, the more latitude you give people, then, well, what is the purpose of the rules in the first place?
And that there is, I guess, part of the entire, quandary we find ourselves in at this point, right?
Absolutely. And I have a feeling it may be the ruin of this place going forward.
Well, whether the banyan tree and the rattlesnake persist, when I came here a while ago, Zalfos was barely anything, barely more than practically a few tents and otherwise. And I won't be happy until I find some way to build it out the way that Ali and I would like to see it be. And hopefully it's a community that can persist even after the potential, I would not say inevitable, but potential end of how things operate with the banyan tree, the rattlesnake, and all that involved,
He sort of gestures again to the gig and any signs of civilization here. One day, everything you have built will be long gone, buried under new plants, new material, nothing but a forgotten relic, maybe to be found by some archaeologist to put together the pieces, but it will be gone all the same.
I detect no falsehood stated here. We're all fighting, many of us are fighting against entropy in a way, I guess. So, in any case, all I can say about you here, stranger, is I'm curious about what you plan on growing here. Hopefully not just more pumpkins, I'm guessing. What else do you plan on raising here for the short term, since we're in terms of projecting ideas into the future?
I think when you go, what, not just more pumpkins, he goes, what, you got a problem with that? Sorry, I get defensive.
I'm just saying, if you're saying you're going to be a chef, you got to have a little bit of diversity. Also, what about crop rotation? You got to make sure that the
There's
soil
no dirt here. We're not working on the same. We're not working on the same rules. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen when I plant these.
Well, I guess there's only one way to find out then, huh?
Yeah, I was about to agree and then use a shovel, but it's just more plants. I don't really know what to do here.
It's just plants all the way down into the waters, I guess, then, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna go see if there's a potted plant inside, maybe get some dirt out of that.
I mean, we could try to conjure or make some dirt, maybe, it's just, and I just feel like at this, the pivot there is a good point to see, them bantering on about, the logistics of trying to grow things here.
Empty a latrine, maybe get some manure, I don't know. I don't know who thought this up, but it's very confusing.
I think, as usual, when Barbella isn't sure where else to be putting herself, I think Barbella is in the religious sort of non-denominational chapel section of the area, just sort of pacing back and forth a little bit. I think she is just trying to find some direction and just sort of existing within a space that is religion surrounding her. So I think if anyone was to try and find her at this moment, I think she would be in probably the first place anyone would think to look.
Yeah, I know Lillian is looking for her because as part of my level up is I'm level 7 bard now, which gets me access to a 4th level spell, but I actually did some spell cleaning in and out, like with Quinn's like grace and permission. So I didn't actually take a 4th level spell, but I did like swap out some spells that I wasn't really using. I didn't really find chances to like figure out what to do with them in the moment, and I replaced them with a handful of bard spells that I thought would be more like helpful going forward. And some of the notable ones are like Thunder Wave, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, Cloud of Daggers, and part of my Spirit Sessions feature from like my bardic subclass is that I picked up a spell called Inflict Wounds, just the most direct thing ever, just inflict wounds, get hurt, idiot. And you'll notice a lot of these are more like tactical, like offensive or at least like helpful in fights type of spells, and that's because after what Lillian feels like was a big failure on Fair part in the last vibe check, Faye sat down with like their friends like Boyce and Needles and like tried to figure out like, okay, what are like some spells that I could study that could help me be a better asset on these missions, because Stranger nearly got mind died last time, and Lillian felt like Faye could do a lot better to like support like fair teammates on these missions. And so I've got all those spells, and then I've also got a feat that is just feels like a pretty basic one, but it's like Fighting Initiate, and I took the dueling fighting feature, which is going to let me use my rapier to get +2 bonus on my damage rolls. And the way that I want to flesh out how Lillian is like going about this, where like instead of like Needles is great, but I don't think she knows how to use a sword. So Lillian has come to this like non-denominational like religion room and like gives a big hefty like knock on the side of the door to not like completely surprise Barbella. And it's like Lillian coming in stage left, looking for Barbella. Barbella, are you there you are. Hello.
Despite you having knocked on the door to give warning, Barbella visibly jumps still. Hi. Sorry, I wasn't ready. You're welcome. Come in. No one ever really comes in here. It's always a surprise when someone actually comes in here.
Boyce told me that I'd be able to find you here because you tend to spend your time in here because of your riddle snake religion stuff. My family isn't very religious themselves. We mostly commune with nature back at our tree, but it's not really like a gods or like higher beings type of thing. But it's
I mean, there's very little difference fundamentally, as long as it's a reverence or belief in something that seems too good to be true. I think there's a lot of overlap.
I do think that is true. But yeah, like I've never been in this room before. It's very grand, like all these different like symbols and different things that people passing through do believe in. But I'm getting a little off track. I came looking for you because I heard that you fight real good, and I don't.
I sure do fight. I sure do that. I think this is a good moment for me to mention very briefly about Barbella's level up. Barbella, at level 7, now has +1 to crab leg for the level up, +1 to crab leg while being unconscious in the farm last episode. Barbella also has an extra level 2 spell slot and knows magic weapon to make that weapon even gooder. But interestingly, the new Sacred Oath feature I get for my Oath of the Open Sea is Aura of Liberation, which is weirdly a wriggle me out of a fight situation ability. I can now fill nearby creatures with basically the ability to escape being grappled or restrained and not have penalties on movement. Just make you a slippery little fucker that can't be grabbed onto very well.
Yeah, it's almost like we planned that with Barbella, everyone getting hit with the hold person by the Medusas, and then the whole incident in the brine pool. I feel like there was a lot of grabbing and holding last arc, so it's like
Exactly.
the Rattlesnake blessed you specifically.
Stranger was grabbing tons of people on his side too.
So yes, everyone's going to be ever so slightly harder to grab onto now. But yeah, Barbella goes, I mean, I do fight. Give me a sec. And Barbella starts, like, making sure that anything that could be damaged is either, like, pushed away to the side of the room or put in a cupboard. There's, like, a metal-fronted door cupboard that is, like, okay, fights in the religion room happen more often than you would think. We put all the artifacts in here when we need to keep them from getting broken. And goes, is there anything particular you want to learn, or do you want to just learn by doing?
I would like, most specifically, to learn how to wield this, holding up like a fair, like standard rapier, and just wield it to be able to hit better and more effectively, I suppose. Because I'll tell you, I've only really done sword work like in practice, like a little bit before, like becoming a vibe checker on my way over here, but it was never like anything of life or death. It was just like, oh, like you gotta prove your worth to stay in the inn for this night in this biome, and I'm like, come on, I can't perform for you tonight? No.
Okay, so it's all been very, very practiced and not very sort of practical, unexpected, coming right at you sort of stuff, right?
Exactly.
And Barbella is going to make a swing before the answer has even come out. So I think we can avoid initiative, but I'm going to make a swing and see whether it hits.
Fucking kill him.
No.
Kill him.
22.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Okay, I'm rolling damage.
Lauren has entered
Hopefully
the...
it's I don't want it to be a lot of damage, but I fuck, it's the most damage it could be. It's 11.
Oh,
Okay, but Barbella swings perhaps harder than she intended to. And you see a little bit of sort of like unintended recoil, sort of shock and recoil on the face. She's like, sorry, did not mean for that to be as hard as it was. Lesson 1, you kind of got to be ready for fighting whenever.
Lillian stumbles over a little bit and she's like, okay, lesson noted. Great first-hand experience.
Sorry, I'm not on my A game today. Barbella does lay on hands and restores that health back up and goes, sorry, I thought I'm not much of a teacher. Apologies for the poor methodology there.
And then she swings again, right?
No, she very genuinely, like, feels like she's made a rash, impulsive move without really thinking about the consequences, and is a little bit, oops, that's my fuck up there. And she sort of tries to stop and take a second for herself and goes, sometimes, for me, the thing that makes me hit good is not stopping to think about it. And that is not always the right move, as was seen a second ago. But sometimes you've just kind of got to let your body move without thinking about it that much.
Just nodding fair head, like, I see. Yeah, I have been caught up a lot in thinking about, like, when I'm in these situations, like, I get a little hung up on, like, oh, like people could get hurt in this vibe check, and like I don't want to like put people in danger, but like these vibe check people aren't real, and that kind of throws me off because I'm used to not real danger just being on the stage, and like getting it mixed up with like what feels like real life has been really like putting me at a disadvantage. But I want to be able to think clearer and just hit and go forward without like getting hung up on these things.
Well, here's what I do know. I try and do my thinking outside of the fight. And it doesn't have to be this for you, but for me, the riddles are a couple of things. They are a way for me to prompt asking myself the hard questions before I'm in the moment, and I have to be thinking about them then and there. But in a tough moment where I'm stood there and there is no clear right or wrong choice, and anything I'm going to choose is gonna have some kind of negative, having something I can look at and just try and interpret an answer from is enough. It takes a little of that decision out of my hands and stops me being paralyzed by it, because whether you believe the riddles in my book are religiously significant or not, sometimes a riddle answer that sounds kind of like, oh, be cautious of being too aggressive or charge faster ahead, can make a choice that I don't know how to make. Does that make sense?
I think I understand it. It's like taking a moment to clear your head almost, or like get yourself focused on one specific thing by like going through your little riddle book there and finding something relevant.
Yeah. I had maybe this makes sense. I've heard people say before that sometimes when they've got a big choice, they flip a coin to decide what to do. And before you even look at what side it's landed on, you probably know in that moment which side you hope it landed on. Sometimes you need permission outside of yourself to have something to blame when you make a choice that you were gonna make but might fuck up.
I think I understand that. I think I'll think about that, because I have things that I could look inward about, like acting lessons that like my family taught me, that I could try to put like have some like breathing exercises, or like my recitations from before I go out on stage. That could help.
Yeah. Now, I have one other piece of advice.
Yes.
Don't think, attack me with your strongest attack now.
Okay, let's see. Ba.
You want to borrow my Bodak cloak and exploder?
Lillian just whips out the grenade launcher.
Oh no! Oh no!
Is that a goddamn botch again? I'm gonna kill roll 20.
It is a botch. Oh no!
Lillian
Haunted.
like gets stanced up in like this very like staged way. Like you can tell that they're not even thinking about how practiced this is, and like tries to hit you and just whiffs it.
But Barbella just stands there and goes, harder, go.
Sarah, did you do something to Mr. Daniel Roll 20?
No. I keep thinking like this fucking like unluck mask has like genuinely cursed me. I don't even get the benefits from it. Okay, 13. Does that one hit?
13 does not hit. Barbella holds Faye by the shoulders and goes, those are not going to kill me. Hit me as if you want to kill me. Go.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
it's
see.
this gun I found.
I think the strongest spell I could hit you with is casting Thunder Wave at 4th level.
Go for it. We're in downtime. The spell slots don't matter here. This is the fake zone that doesn't exist.
Okay, that's a Constitution saving throw of you got to hit 15.
13. And 15 was the DC. Yeah, no, you hit me for 20 damage. Describe this hit.
All right, so I imagine that how this goes is that like Lillian is like whiffing with this goddamn sword. Just I don't think they have ever landed a hit with the stupid thing. And so like in the swing of the next sword hit, there's like a surge of magic energy and just kind of like a thunder wave, like instead of hitting you with the sword, it like ricochets off like a fucking like blast off the sword to hit you instead.
Barbella is like knocked back and looks up and is beaming ear to ear. And is like, okay, I told you that first time to hit me with the strongest thing you got. Why did you hold back?
Like, I don't know why I keep holding back. I'm not even thinking about it when I like pull my punches. Like I'm like I think I'm still in this state where I am acting like I've got to pull my punches so that I don't mess up with the ones that I do hit. You know, like if I go all out, what happens if I fail then?
I getcha. But like, here's the thing. When you're in a fight, they're not gonna hold back. Like, you need to hit as if you're not gonna get a chance to have another try at these things sometimes. And like, look, magic's easy, because you just do the spell and it is a force of nature outside of you at that point. It just kind of, there's no reining the spell in once you've set it off, but using your weapon is harder because you have to do it and you have to commit to it all the way through the hit. So, I don't know if this will help, but my last advice, I guess, would be next time you use that weapon of yours, imagine you're hitting with that spell you just used. Make your weapon be that spell. Make it do that hit. Follow it through as if it's gonna hit like that.
I will try to internalize that. I think I might still have trouble with it, but I think I think I follow what you mean. I think I'll try to be more direct. I'll be more forceful.
Just know, as helpful as it can be, sometimes you do still, advice on just committing to things and making choices is great until you commit to a thing and make a choice and then... How do you stop and think about things before you do them?
Just Lillian will probably like sheath fair sword at this point and be like, well, when I'm thinking through things, it's typically like it feels like everything sort of goes on pause and I just have all these different dots in my head and I'm trying to connect them in a way that makes sense to me. And a lot of those times it's because I have to like work through like a problem that I'm trying to solve for like my team and like for example, like way back when I work at the theater, like there's a lot of like technical problem solving that I have to do backstage before we even get on stage, and we have to do rehearsals over and over, and I have to think about like when to hit my mark. So I have all these like different stopping points to like sit and think on something before I even get the chance to do it. Very planned, very organized, and I just kind of bring that out into the rest of my life. But I'm not sure if that makes sense outside of my head.
Describing stuff in your head is tricky. I just have this little voice that when I'm not go doing stuff, just this restless little ball of energy that just kind of wants to commit and move.
It kind of sounds like you're having maybe the opposite problem I am. I feel like I get paralyzed trying to think of stuff, and it sounds like you maybe have been doing some stuff that you regret like immediately afterward.
I mean, I don't know if you've heard, I summoned a big worm that ate a kid.
I did hear about that. I heard along the grapevine, the plant vine. That sounds very intense. It sounds...
I did not know I was summoning a worm that would eat a kid, but I summoned a worm, and at that point I was kind of in it for the long haul. You can't really back down from summoning a worm god. Everyone's going to be very embarrassed if you summon a worm god and they go, actually, nah, go back in the hole you go. You kind of got to do something once you summon a worm god.
It's like once the worm gods here, the party starts. I think
once the worm god's here, the voice in my head is going, you got to do something with this. Everyone's wondering what you're going to do with this now. I didn't have a plan for this one.
Yeah, when you take your worm out in a public place, everybody stares.
I funnily enough did not rehearse that one in advance and come up with a routine for what I was going to do should that happen.
Drinking the milkshake that makes you take your worm out.
There's so many drinks that make you do things.
I wonder if they've got a drink at the bar that makes your brain slow down. The brain that make you the drink that make you stop and think.
Mm-hmm. Stop.
I don't think
drink.
they've invented that.
It makes you stop and
I don't
drink.
think they've invented the drink that makes me stop and think for a second yet. That one's gonna really help.
Just like I mentioned this earlier, trying to sort out through the advice you were giving me. But if I could maybe try to help, when everything's like working well and like my way of thinking through things is helpful instead of detrimental, I'm usually just like, I take a deep breath and then I just think by just not doing anything else, even if like there are other things that need to be done, because I have to like figure out the thing that I've got to be doing before anything else. But I know that like getting your brain to slow down is not something that can be helped with some words of advice.
You know what? I think something is gonna help. Next time I am in a situation such as having just summoned a worm and now I need to know what to do, and my brain is going, do something. I'm just gonna stop and go, what would you do? For just a second, what would you do? I think that might help a little bit.
And
if that's not weird.
It's not weird at all. I'm flattered, honestly. I like when Boyce recommended I come to talk to you about my problems, like I was looking forward to it because I know we haven't gotten to talk much, but Boyce talks about you and the others, and I think that like being someone that you think of when you're trying to get things sorted is very flattering. And I was about to say, like, the advice you gave me means that I'm probably going to be thinking like before a fight, like before anything even goes off the rails, just like, all right, when I'm in the moment, I gotta try to do it like Barbella would.
Oh. Can I tell you a riddle? I haven't told you any riddles yet. Can I tell you a riddle?
Go ahead. I tried to like ask Needles if like she had any like riddles that I could like bring to you, but like she seemed like she couldn't quite find one because all her books are organized by like culture but not by like entertainment or riddle things. So like she was digging around for like maybe 10 minutes and then I just had to go.
That sounds like a suggestion that riddles aren't culture, and that is not good news.
Her organization system is beyond me, but I know that they're there somewhere.
Okay, let me see. What have I got here? What goes in a bird bath but never gets wet?
Is it
a bird's shadow?
Oh.
Sorry, I got excited. I didn't do the thing where I stop and think about you and then don't just blurt a thing out. Sorry. I'll practice the restraint thing of waiting a second.
Okay. That's a good start, though. Remembering about it afterwards.
I waited like a whole 4 seconds. I waited like a whole 4 seconds. That's good for me.
That's a record.
For the record, I was gonna say, is it water? But like that doesn't make sense because the water's already in the bird bath.
Oh! Don't get me started on the question of is water wet. I don't like the answer to that question. I once got told that water isn't wet because wet is a status applied to things by water. Water itself cannot be made wet. And I don't like that.
I have a feeling that's like an explanation Boyce would have given at one point.
Sorry. The thing I vaguely remembered that I'm referencing here. Most scientists define wetness as a liquid's ability to maintain contact with a solid surface, meaning that water itself is not wet.
You know what I'm going to say in response to that? I will light the scientist on fire and say, don't worry, the fire isn't hot. It's just making you hot.
Exactly. But, I think with that, Barbella starts reassembling the religious room with at least one eye over the shoulder just in case there is an attack incoming as a sort of post-lesson. Like, are you going to attack me? Yeah, probably not. Probably not now the religious artifact's back up.
Lillian wouldn't want to break anything. It's obvious that you care about keeping this place nice.
Yeah. Regardless of which of the religion's artifacts it is, Barbella is very invested in keeping the place just running well.
Just, I really appreciate the help that you gave me here today, and next time that we meet, maybe hopefully I will have some kind of riddle as an exchange for that, or something else like that.
Well, next time you visit, I won't just hit you with the big leg. But if I were to, you would be prepared for it. But I won't. I won't.
Just, I will be prepared. I will get myself on the ball.
Yeah, get yourself prepared for the attack that I promise you I won't do. That would be bad of me to do again.
All right.
But be ready for it.
I'll be ready for it, Lillian says, walking backwards out the room so that they're looking at you.
Muy bien. For Hialeah's level up, my plan has actually gone kind of off the rails. My original idea was to start with 5 levels in Fighter and then take every level after that in Cleric as she became more committed to the Banyan Tree. But after this last arc, she has got grander plans. Her becoming the Pope scheme has actually caused me to take another level in Fighter, not for any martial reasons, but because that gives me, at the 6th Fighter level, an ability score improvement, which I can put into Intelligence to represent her big braining this one.
Do you think popes are smart?
I think that's probably their highest stat. You'd think it's wisdom because that's their spellcasting that's their spellcasting modifier, but they have to do all kinds of politics and all kinds of economics.
As a former Catholic, I can tell you the highest stat is always charisma. Popes are
I was going to say it's charisma.
Popes are sexy.
Yeah, also, you can't get by without politicking. That requires convincing people, so it's clearly charisma. Come on.
But yeah, Hylia took an increase to some of her stats rather than get stronger magic. I also took a feat that she can use to soak some damage. I'll show that off as soon as possible. But the important thing for her level is that she is going around and fixing things in the gig. She has a proficiency in Smith's tools because of her fire rune. So, like, one thing I broke on the screen was the doorknob of Miss Killing's room. I'm putting that back on, patching up any leaks in the building, stuff of this nature, when I'm going to run into Reaper for my downtime. So where do you think these two characters cross paths, Quinn?
I almost like the idea that we were just the last two people to leave the bar. And Reaper's philosophy is just like,
Well, I'm not leaving until you leave. Like, she desperately wants to go, but you're still finishing up your conversation. She's like, what, I'm gonna leave now so you can attack me from behind? Never.
Is Reaper the kind of person who's like the last person to clap in an audience just to be that person?
She never claps. She crosses her arms judgingly.
Not even during Sonic 3 when a certain character shows up.
No, never. She would probably hate Shadow. She's like, he's trying too hard. Not like me. He's actually cool.
Yeah, not gonna clap when a certain other character meets a certain other fate. No.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Those soldiers were in there, right?
Reaper's favorite movie is Madam Web.
We can't do this. We can't do the Madam Webcast.
Oh, you can't get me started on Madam Web.
We'll be here all night. So at some point, Hylia probably notices like a crack in the wall or something needs patching and calls Reaper over because you can swim and you can go under the water to patch us up. Probably just like, hey, Reaper, can you go down there and hold that to seal the thing while I repair this real quick?
What? Why?
Because this is salt water and I am a tree.
But I don't know how to fix things. I know how to break things with my tremendous strength. Do you need the hole bigger? Let me help with that. And she like raises up her arm and karate chop the hole.
Nope. Just take this. This is a seal. Just press it over the hole under the water. That's all you have to do. I'll do the rest.
Fine, but I'm going to be really quick about it, which is going to leave me to talk about
My level up, which for the most part is pretty boring. I took level 7 in Monk. I have evasion, so I take half damage on a fail for a dexterity saving throw and no damage on a success. This is something that rogues also have. And then stillness of mind, which is an ability to use my action to end an effect on myself that's making me either charmed or frightened. So I can basically be like, no fear. No, I don't care. But for my feet, I took mobile, mainly because it increases my speed by 10 feet. So Reaper is at a point where they move basically twice as fast as anyone else. And she's going to go very fast by the end of this season. And I'm very excited about that. So you see her just book it into the underwater part and holding up the plank. And she just shouts to like,
do it! My arms are tired, not because I'm weak, but because you suck.
Yeah, I mean, there was already a plot point that you were fast enough to like run back to town last arc, so you're already running circles around everybody. So that at some point needs to be shown off in a cooler way. But if you hold the seal, Hylia uses the fiery chains that leap out of her weapon fracture to do like underwater welding here, and you all are just mending the cracks in the gig. She actually helped build it. I think Boyce is the architect, obviously, but like there's a lot of things that needed moving, and I think that's kind of the backstory of this building. As we are repairing this, I think Hylia probably just makes small talk with you at first before trying to get you away from the bar. She says, do you need any repairs in your room? Up at the top, you're in one of the really nice suites, right?
It's a room with a bed and enough room for stretching. That's all a warrior would need. I don't need frivolities. Hampers? Fuck them.
Well, can you help me out with some repairs up there too? I mean, it'd make it go a lot faster. I'm very slow moving.
Isn't there an employed handyman on this part? Why am I doing all of this?
Well, yeah, everyone pitches in. I mean, we have a handyman, but it's a big building. They usually have a whole staff.
Why am I pitching in? I barely like you people.
I think if it seems like you're going to try to get out of this, Ailey will lower her voice in what she thinks is a cool way and say, I have a message for you that you might find interesting.
Oh, yeah? Why?
It's about your master.
Reaper is going to, because you don't have clothing, correct? You are just a tree.
Yeah.
Reaper is going to like scramble up you because she is so much smaller, like literally climb up your face and grab onto your bark as though it were a collar. And she's like, "What do you know?"
Wow. Hylia starts walking out of the bar area and to go upstairs. She wants to basically make repairs to the roof of the gig. I don't know if you've ever been on top of it before, but I'm imagining it's literally named after a kind of spear for spearfishing, and so it's like comes to a point, and she wants to like have this clandestine conversation, like while replacing roof tile or something. And she's gonna say to Reaper once they're out of earshot of other people, I've been talking to Bishop Bittercreek about your situation, and I think I can help you because I need someone to do something for me, and it seems we can all come to an arrangement.
You're trying to bribe me.
No, I'm trying to pay you for your services.
How many deals do I have to make to get this person back?
Well, it's just the one deal, really. Your Master Evers, you're trying to bring back. You got here before the vibe checking, so you don't have to go through all of that. But it's still going to be quite a while. But Bishop Bittercreek was really impressed by you defending him from the Seneschal, and so he has agreed to move up your resurrection date pretty significantly. But I just don't want you leaving right away. Is what's happening here.
I mean, I guess I would leave. Of course, I should leave, because after I finish killing my master, I will have affirmed myself the strongest person in this area, and I will have no more mountains to conquer.
Yeah, exactly. And she like I don't know how much stock she puts in that. You're very small, but she's heard your fears and probably doesn't have any reason to doubt it. And she says, so your master must be pretty strong then if you're going through all this trouble to prove you can beat them.
They are skilled, but I'm stronger. And she's going to say that as she like aggressively points, and is like, so everybody knows I'm stronger. And once they come back and I kill them, then everyone will know it.
At this point, Hylia is like holding you out off a ledge or something to help you like reach something on the roof, and you're just doing these repairs together. And then in the distance, there's the like flying vegetable birds that are part of the island landscape flying by. And she says, what's so strong about him? Is he like just good at punching? Is there some kind of secret technique? I don't really know much about martial arts.
You've never thought to channel the power of darkness? And she says that as her hands glow with like a shadowy flare.
Oh, I mean, it's certainly a popular trope in many adventure stories, but usually someone with the power of light comes along, and that one usually triumphs. It's kind of a fire and water situation.
No, that's stupid. I'd kill them.
Well, how would you defeat the power of light with the power of darkness?
I'd go faster than the light. Duh. and then strike with my expert martial arts.
I think light is the one thing you can't go faster than. It's like defining characteristic.
I beg to differ.
Not true. By the time light got there, darkness was already there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
If you put something between light and the end of the tunnel, the shadow will be there first. So, yes. And also, shadow is there to begin with. Light has to catch up to it.
Okay. So this is purely about proving your mettle. You don't really like miss this guy?
No, he sucked. Why would I miss him?
Oh, I don't know. People tend to bond with teachers. Like you look up to them. They're like mentors.
I suppose if you had a choice where you were learning from, but I didn't. This person sucked. The whole reason I agreed to this whole thing is because they would never pass one of your stupid vibe checks. Everyone up here has to be like a goody two-shoes to come back, right?
Yeah, that's the idea. We don't want to resurrect a bunch of villains, which is exactly why I'm talking to you, because it seems like there's some bad villains out there. And I mean, I'm strong, but I'm no shadow master. And if my plans bite me in the ass, I want someone strong like you, and you're supposedly the strongest. So that's why I'm talking to you right now.
Reaper's face like visibly brightens as you call her the strongest, and she kind of like raises like her face up to the sky to kind of hide her smile a little bit. She's like,
Well, I suppose that would be me. I don't know anyone else who's stronger. Do you see anyone? I don't. Must be me then.
No, I don't see anyone, but I've heard some tell. There's this sun elf called President Slater who seems to have some really powerful magic. I tried dominating him magically, it didn't work. I tried outwitting him. I tried intimidating him. I can't get the full handle on his powers. And apparently, there's this storm giant that's somewhere around the island named White, and they both sound really powerful. And I'm trying to handle it. I think I've put things in motion to handle it with all the power of the church and God and an anime. But if I fail, I want there to be someone who can fill in for me, and I'm asking for you to be that person. And with Bishop Bittercreek's blessing, we will repay you by bringing your master back much earlier than originally agreed.
so there's a moment where Reaper is about to like scoff. She's like,
I mean, another thing that everyone needs me to clean up their mess.
and then she kind of like pauses for a moment, and she thinks to everything that's kind of been going on with her recently, and she's like,
Well, I suppose everyone would need me, as I am the strongest, so perhaps I have a responsibility to prove that I'm that strong by handling the problems you're too weak and pathetic to handle, because I'm much cooler and smarter than everyone.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, it takes me half the day to climb the stairs up here, and you did it in literally the time it took me to stand up straight. So you're on a whole other level for me, and I would appreciate it if you would pull my ass out of the fire if I have, in fact, doomed myself.
I suppose I can, but why are you doing all of this? Why aren't you teaming up with your dry friends?
That's a fair question. I like them well enough, but I don't know if I can trust Stranger, and Lillian is too nice. I think this requires someone who's killed a billion or trillion foes, and I think you're the only one who fits the bill.
Give or take, yes, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean, Stranger's tough. I just don't know what he wants or what he's about, and I've tried talking to him, and he's just playing it too close to the chest, and I just don't. You seem like you have all your motivations out there. You seem like pretty clear, and I respect that, and I like that.
I suppose it would be beneficial as well if I keep my room clear of ne'er-do-wells to protect this community. And she's gonna kind of like spit at that, the idea of like helping a community.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be as strong as your Master Evers, who wields the power of apparently infinitely speedy darkness. That sounds really badass. This is just an elf and a giant, so maybe it won't be up to your incredible skill. But what I've seen of the elf and what I've heard about the giant worry me. And I'm a huge person who's killed also not millions and billions like you. I've killed a couple hundred people, so I'm a little worried.
Well, I think your first problem was against the elf. You never decided to run up and use your powerful shadow martial arts on them. I bet that would have worked.
That's probably. If I see him again, I will try that. I'll do that. You can probably. Do you have a tutorial or something? Is there like a handbook I can read? I know you could show me, but I'm more of a visual learner, more of a reader.
Oh, I mean, I can draw like a comic, I guess. I'm not really a writer. I kind of prefer to just channel darkness in me and think about darkness and how cool shadows are, how cool I am, and then usually I punch something and it explodes.
Well, less competition for me then, because if you wrote as good as you fight, and we'd have a problem. Big fake laugh.
You know, you say that. I've actually been getting very good at what everyone else is doing. I solved the Riddlefish's third riddle, so I think if I figure out how to nail things together, I might be able to build things better than Boyce as well. I'll be the champion of everything.
Wow, that's impressive. And I mean, if you want to take down the strongest thing, I mean, I feel like that ends with you fighting the Riddlefish, huh?
What? No, that thing's huge. What are you talking about?
Wait, it's too big and it doesn't qualify? What is that how it works? Is it
No.
weight classes?
That's like fighting a cliff. What are you talking about?
I thought maybe you could be tempted into fighting the Riddlesnake.
No, and you see she's visibly nervous. She's like, there's just no reason to. We're friends, you know, we kind of know what each other are about. There's no reason to test those bonds, you know.
It doesn't have
Cases-
arms, ergo it can't
Yeah.
do karate.
In case there's a tag team match, we know each other are partners, so you know. That's why
Okay, that's
we're a
interesting.
faction.
All right. I can talk to you more about the specifics of the deal with Bitter Creek if you want, but I think we're done up here. So I appreciate you taking the time.
You're really trying to do something quite extravagant here, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I'm as the people from my hometown say, I am balling out.
Why?
All I know how to do is win. I don't know. I just wake up in the morning and I piss excellence. It's just how I am.
You should get that checked out.
It sounds like a medical condition. You should be eating more asparagus. It sounds like if it doesn't work, though, you might just die. Aren't you concerned about that?
I feel like that's the best you can do. I'd rather go out trying to dunk it than just sitting on the bench.
Fair enough. Well, I hope it brings you, what do people call it, purpose or something to do this? It sounds like you're just going to die, which is dumb in my mind. You should just kill whoever's stronger than you and then be stronger than them. But whatever makes you happy, I guess.
I won't know if it'll make me happy until I have it, but I know that not having it isn't making me happy, so I'm going to shoot my shot. What's the worst that could happen?
As Reaper kind of like looks to the ground, she's like, I guess you just die.
I mean, what's the worst that could happen when you bring your master back? He beats your ass to death?
Reaper's just very quiet.
As you say that, she's very like, she didn't seem to have anything to say. She's kind of like kicks a shingle off of the building. You dropped one.
Oh, I'm so clumsy.
Yeah, this building is stupid.
Are you worried about that? Do you don't think you could take him? I mean, you're usually the strongest, so, and you've learned more since he died, right? He's not level grinding.
I know that I could beat him. That's all that matters. And then afterwards, I'll be like you. I'll find satisfaction once I have it, and I'll go on to the next bigger and better thing until all around the world I'm acknowledged as the ultimate fighter.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like an extremely attainable goal, or it's very concrete at least. I like you. I think that's cool. That's a cool goal to have. You're a great character.
Thank you. No one says this to me down there. They say I'm silly or things like that. I'm not silly. I actually am very cool.
Yeah, no, it's badass. It's very aspirational. I dig it. I think you'll be a beloved character when I write this whole thing up. I love being able to comment on things that are happening as if they're fiction.
Well, this sounds great, but I'm gonna go shadow box now. As Reaper goes to head out, and she just—I don't know what tool you gave her, presumably a hammer. She doesn't like put it down. She like hurls it off the roof towards like the ocean. Like she's like, I'll never need this again.
I
What
imagine we cut back to Zalphas, and there's like somebody walking out of the school, and like Hammer just falls on top of them and he just knocks him out, right?
Even though once it hits the water, it would eventually slow to a certain point. Once it hits them on the head, they just explode.
Exactly. Yes. Just by sheer inertia.
Harper comes out. Hi, Leah. Where's that hammer that my dead brother Roman gave to me? I love that hammer more than anything.
It's the only thing I have left of him when you think about it.
I'm also just imagining some things that Reaper does, like the morning paper is just like a bunch of just black pages are just like solid black. It's just like, these are the funny pages I like to read before I go out on my morning run.
Yeah, she's absolutely bonkers. She just looks at a paper that's pure black and starts laughing. She's like, "Oh, that cat! What kind of lasagna won't he eat?"
Dark Garfield.
I also hate Mondays and all other days.
Every other day sucks too. Abu Dhabi, what a weird place. I like this Lucy. She proves a superiority over Charlie Brown every week by moving the football. She is the correct one in this exchange.
This Marmaduke, he thinks he's people. How absurd.
Oh man, is there a gig newspaper? I highly would work on it and continuing the tradition of this just being my OC. She does the horoscopes, which I did for my high school newspaper and got in trouble because they got too weird and esoteric.
I was gonna say, for someone who famously does not believe in horoscopes.
Can it be called like the gig gaggle? I think that would be fun.
Yeah,
It's alliterative.
It absolutely can. It should be noted that I don't think it ever leaves this island, so this definitely has like school paper kind of energy to it.
The Cancer horoscope just says steamed with butter.
Yeah, it's just like local gossip. It's just like Barbella seen lifting 15 times their body weight or something. A new record? Question mark.
The bar restocks the wine that makes you gay. When will it run out again? Probably soon.
Stranger Boyce witnessing stealing soil from all the pots inside the building.
There's a little announcement list of like all the new shows that Lillian's putting on.
Oh, every issue has a riddle, but it doesn't have the answer to force everyone to come to the riddle church.
This month's horoscope for Leo. Watch your back, bitch.
You know what you fucking did.
So at some point, I imagine you all are going to gather back around in sort of the main room of the gig. And Harper is going to go up to you, stranger, and say, "Hey, stranger, I have noticed some materials are kind of gone. I think I'm supposed to keep track of all that stuff to make sure it doesn't go missing. Y'all haven't seen anything out of place, have you?"
Oh no, I believe everything is where it properly should be right now. And he's meaning that by saying it's not missing. He knows exactly where it is. It's just not here.
See, now, I say this, I guess, I don't know what that word is, but the one where you say something but you actually know the answer, I saw you took it and did something with it. Can I ask what you did with all that material before I get yelled at?
Oh, I'm setting up a bit of farmland.
Oh, why you doing that? Ain't we got enough here for you to eat? Do you need more? I can give you my servants if that'll help.
Oh, it's not for how should I say? It's not for eating. The things I grow react to their environment quite interestingly, and this is as unique of an environment as I've ever come across. So I'm quite interested to see what will come of anything I plant here.
Are you planting food?
No.
Well, then what else would you be planting? Pretty flowers? We could use some of those.
Stranger will gesture to himself and simply say, my people grow out of the ground, and I'm curious to see what they would look like coming up here.
Oh, y'all should have just said you were playing God. Nah, don't worry about it. It's all good. You take that stuff. I want to see how your experiments go.
Yeah, there's a lot of playing God around here. Someone summoned a worm? It's eating kids. I don't know if that's something we should be concerned about.
I heard it was just the one kid and he was kind of a dick.
Oh, okay, never mind. It's fine. That's apparently the criteria for eaten by a big worm.
Well, I mean,
I'm not being
I'd be
facetious. That's fine. I'm just glad we know the score.
good. Well, then, I mean, it's pretty good. By the way, did y'all ever figure out if you're bringing someone back? Are we getting a new resident here? Should I be building an extension? Do I need to do anything?
Yes, we are bringing 2 people back, although I don't think one of them would be staying here.
Oh, wait, what do you mean by that? They got their own place like Buck?
Stranger will just turn to Hylia.
Hylia will say very casually, like not even putting her full attention on the conversation, just Pofo's going to live with Buck and President Slater is going to go back to where he lives. So we know nothing we need from you. Thanks you for asking, though. It's very, very nice. Also, I fixed the door handle, the doorknob I was telling you about. It's all good.
Oh, hi, Leah. You are the best. I have already drafted you as my goalie for the hockey league when that happens because
Hell
you
yeah.
seem very skilled. Also, size-wise, it feels like very difficult to score a goal on you.
Yeah, I'm the best.
I just hope the ice is thick.
Well, I guess that's what we're gonna have to figure out. Maybe we can make maybe get like a wizard to cast like ice on the water. That would work. Is one of these people coming back a wizard?
I don't think either of them is a wizard. I actually don't know much about like what they do aside from like death and run a business. Some
Well, which one's gonna be coming back first? And this is me, the DM, asking Austin now to make the decision of which body part is getting handed over first, Popo or President Slater.
Pofo.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been playing it pretty cool. So, Hylia, even though exploding is the consequence of getting this wrong, just plays it off like it's nothing.
I guess it can be done. It can be done here. Since I guess Hylia is doing the handoff. Stranger will go. Oh yes, that reminds me. And Stranger will take out the remaining burlap sack of Pofo and hand it over to Hylia. It is noticeably smaller than you last saw it.
Okay. That's not my problem. Whatever that means.
just where did that thing was bigger last time we saw, right?
Was it? I hadn't noticed. And I'm gonna roll deception. 17.
Do I like roll against that or like how are we
Yeah, I guess you probably
I
just
believe-
roll insight.
You could roll insight, yeah, as usually
see insight?
or investigation sometimes.
Oh yeah, he's lying. He obviously noticed that it was smaller.
Just like what like I can tell that it is smaller. You know that, right? Where's the rest of him?
Oh, did you drop it? I drop all sorts of important things around here, so maybe we can put like a search party.
It must have been that perhaps he was around Buck for so long and was already rotting a bit. Parts of it just fell off. It has very obviously been cleanly sliced.
Like, I mean, I guess as long as we have part of his body, it will do the same thing.
Yes, that should be fine. It's not the amount that goes in, right? It's just as long as something goes in.
Just like, does this have something to do with just visibly thinking like you mentioned something about pumpkins and death. Like that thing where, like, if someone comes back, we don't know, like, an undead person will come back as, like, Pofo, if it'd be, like, Pofo Firbolg edition.
Oh yeah, Hailey just had her level up imparted into intelligence, so she gets a big light bulb and says, "Oh, you're gonna try to grow a harvestkin Pofo and bring back the Pofo in the well, and then see what happens." Good thinking, stranger. Really, fourth dimensional chess.
I think Stranger looks at you and then I've already failed the deception, so I'm not gonna hide this. It seems like he did not have this thought, and now he has this thought. So he's obviously, he doesn't say anything, but he has the look of recognition of, oh, that's an interesting option. What happens here?
This is real John Lovitz. Yeah, that's the ticket energy. As you're like ready to run off.
You have taken it a step further. I just wanted to see what would happen to the remaining body part.
I get, like, is this something that you ran past Buck, since he was the one who brought Pofo around? Like, I guess, like, as long as we're still bringing Pofo back, this isn't the worst thing in the world. I'm just confused about, like, your plans.
Look, I need to know the answer. That's really it. If it's any consolation, if nothing happens, I will be giving the body part back to Buck, and he will get to watch it, I don't know, disintegrate into mush. He likes to do that.
I mean, I guess if we bring Pofo back, maybe Pofo would find some kind of interest in having, like, part of his own dead body part back in his hands, and they could, like, put it in their little mushroom house and watch it muck up. I mean, I still don't quite get how that's appealing, but, like, you do you, I guess.
Yeah, like keeping your wisdom teeth after their removal.
It would be so funny for Hylia to become indignant about Stranger hiding things. I'm not going to do it because I think it'd be annoying, but it'd be very funny to be like, how dare you not tell us everything? You're going behind our back, you motherfucker.
Are you being duplicitous with this? I would never do that to you or any of you.
No, but I think she the way she rationalizes her own behavior is just like, some things are private business. It's like fine to live your own life. You don't have to share everything, and she's respecting that. It just occurred to me it'd be very funny to get mad about this.
Yeah, everyone has secrets. They're all as big as mine, so it's fine.
And from Stranger's side, he has seen. Seems like everyone is kind of doing their own thing. Like Reaper has a backdoor deal. We're kind of playing fast and loose with the queue. So if it's that compromised already, why doesn't he just get in on it for what he needs?
Well, like I said, as long as we're doing what we set out to do and bring Pofo back, I guess that the only thing wrong with what you did is not asking him first, but you couldn't really. So let's just get this guy back up on the surface and bring him back to his buddy so that they can watch Mushroom on the TV.
Hey everyone! There's a ship coming in! And Needles is like coming in from outside and like pointing everyone's attention to a ship that's sort of landed on shore, and someone is approaching the gig.
Oh heck. A ship?
Is it Barbella / Allison? Because I shipped that.
Whoa.
Wow. We'll see. We'll see.
There's only one individual approaching. Dan, would you like to describe what this character looks like?
Okay, I have a miniature for this.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
We're about to get our shit rocked.
I opened up because I wasn't sure we're like using two different Discord or two different Roll20, so I wasn't sure where you'd put it. So I opened up our Discord, and there's just a bottle of Lagay wine. I was like, interesting. Since
There's also juice that makes you explode.
Since the last time we've talked, this character's description has changed, I guess.
This isn't actually my miniature because I have it, but I just haven't painted it yet. So I'll put this in the group chat and describe it. So the first thing you see is this very tall being draped in like rotting scraps of clothing, rusting mail armor, rusting plate armor, carrying a huge like chipped scythe. They're wearing a like burlap sack over their face, and their head is kind of like bobbing weakly back and forth, like they're not really keeping their neck straight or like focused. But from their stomach down is this huge rounded mass out from it coils vines over their limbs, and it is a giant jack-o'-lantern that has completely replaced this person's torso. And this is Harvest, Stranger's brother, who we referenced in a previous episode.
Yeah, this individual is going to walk right up to the gig in this terrifying, sort of imposing walk. It looks like the ship that they were on could have carried multiple people, but it seems like it is just him who arrives and will sort of like take an ominous look around before turning his attention to you, stranger, and saying,
Little brother, how are you doing?